Hey horror fans, Bored Now back with you. On this video I will be giving my spoiler free thoughts on X, the new Ti West film. Ti West, who made a bit of an indie splash with The House of the Devil a few years ago, couple of other movies. It's his new film. It's the new film from A24, who of course have quite the reputation for kind of like edgy indie horror cinema, I guess film in general. And I have to say that I've just come from it. I've got back not too long ago, just over an hour ago, and I'll just say something about it. Then actually going into the movie, I knew almost nothing about it. I knew like the basic premise. Then you had like this group of like filmmakers and who were, they're in like this sort of country setting. It's like the 70s, the setting for the movie, and they're making, as the title of the film suggests, an adult movie, and they're doing it in this house which they've rented from like this old couple, and it's sort of playing up that type of horror trope where the old people, the weird old people as it was, don't know what they're doing exactly, and it's like at least implied that they wouldn't be too approving if they were. That's sort of the setup, and from there it obviously teases like a horror style premise which slowly comes together. But that's pretty much all I knew. The only other things I knew is that Ti West was the director. I've not seen any of his previous films, I will admit, but I know he does have like a good reputation with horror fans. I knew some of the cast. Jenna Ortega's in here from the recent Scream movie, who was very good in that. Also, Mira Goth is kind of like the main sort of character, the main girl, if you like. She's tends to be very good in whatever I see her in, and a couple of other familiar names or faces. Britley Snow, who has a sort of like a horror pedigree a little bit. She's been in one or two horrors over the years. Martin Henderson, I know his name, but I can't really think what he's been in. So a few names, and I did catch the trailer the other night on the TV, and I thought the trailer looked sort of fun, but it didn't really give that much away. So what I'm going to say, because I'm going to keep this spoiler free, and I will come back with a proper spoiler discussion another night, but I'll just say go into this like that, with like an open sort of head where you know almost nothing about it, because that is the best way to experience this movie, because the less you know about it, the more it's going to surprise you, because it definitely takes a turn in the middle of the film where it goes in a very sort of strange, twisted direction that you probably don't expect. There's like a little twist to what's going on with like the old couple, and boy is it a ride from there. It's pretty much a ride all the way through. Like, it's a really trippy, stylistic type film, very strange, very sort of cult, very sort of grindhouse. It really has that style down to the T, but it especially goes like batshit in like the second half of the movie. Up to that point, it's sort of quite hard to read as a movie, like exactly where it's going to go, or it maybe looks like it's going down a more predictable route, but it really takes a turn out of left field in that second half, and sort of all the better for it. But it's a really, really good film. It's a really entertaining blast of a movie that just delivers so much if you're like a horror fan or if you're like a B-movie fan. And I think what's funny is this doesn't really feel like a film that should be in mainstream cinemas. It's almost like they've snuck it into, a more mainstream setting. I guess maybe because A24 have a bit of a profile as a company, and it's probably one where it's quite easy to market as like a very like mainstream style horror, which I guess that's what they've done. It'll be interesting to see how it does at the box office, but It's a very niche film, which isn't going to be for everyone, but if you do like sort of classic grindhouse, classic cult movies, if you've got a nostalgia for that style, but with something a bit more twisted, a bit more like stylistic, and some entertaining horror kills as well, this really ticks all the boxes. I think it's the best of both worlds. Then it's a director who has like nostalgia for that era and for the 70s. The look of the film really recreates like the sort of like grimy sort of 70s type feel, where like the opening literally looks like a scene from like the Texas Chainsaw Massacre. So it's really impressive, like the stylistic touches of the movie. There's some great direction, some great tension and atmosphere built up, and some pretty wacky, unpredictable stuff. It does become a very strange movie, but as I was saying, I think it gets like the right balance between a really weird, entertaining grindhouse driving style movie, but also something that definitely delivers like the horror thrills and spills as well. You've got, as I said, a really strong cast. General Tager is really well cast as like the more Virgil, like shy sort of crew member who along the way gets to do a couple of different things, but she is a really natural actress who I think has like a really great career ahead of her. I said in my Scream 5 review she should have been like the lead of that film. Mira Goth is always good. As I said, she's like the main character if there is a lead, and she has a really effective presence, gets to do a lot of like interesting stuff. She does go on a bit of a journey, her character, but it's a really fun cult movie that ticks all the boxes. Lots of style, lots of atmosphere, lots of like gore and sort of edgy, gross out type moments along with it. So it really delivers for me. I think it really pays off what it sets off. But it's a really niche film that for the right audience, I think it just delivers in spades. So a blast of a movie and a great final line, I'll say that as well. Now I will come back with a more spoiler loaded review maybe tomorrow, but certainly in the coming days. But for now I'm just going to say I give this movie a big thumbs up, a big X-rated thumbs up. 8 out of 10 for me. I had a great time with X. Let me know your thoughts if you've seen it in the comments below. Like and subscribe as always. Share me out on social media. And keep watching horror movies. I'll be back with more soon. Thanks guys. Good night.